Hi, have you ever been afraid to go home? Have you ever felt confident outside the home and had legs made of jelly the moment you approach your own home? Have you felt as if you had nobody to talk to about what was going on? Nobody there to understand you? This video is for anyone who's ever felt going home, the ones who are and or were in toxic environments. Hello, and thank you for being here with me today. My name is Corina, and I'm an advocate for those who are healing from toxic environments, whether they were born into them or found themselves trapped in them later on in life. As a published author, trauma recovery therapist, and trauma survivor, I work with individuals who are reclaiming their personal power, in particular, those who have experienced narcissistic abuse or deep emotional wounds. I really believe that by sharing our stories, we can find not only healing, but also freedom. Today, I want to speak to anyone who has ever felt the weight of fear on their chest as they approach home, or anyone who still feels the shiver of dread when they think of the people who were meant to protect them. If this resonates with you, know that you are not alone. There's a kind of fear that is hard to explain to the ones who've had never experienced that. It doesn't scream, it settles, it tightens, it drapes over you like a suffocating straitjacket when you think about going home, when you think about leaving the safe space you've sort of built at school or university or even at work. Let's say you've had a good day. The sun is shining, you look good, perhaps you had a fulfilling day at work, and everything outside home feels really stable and nice. It feels right. Well, now it's time to go back home and everything changes in a second. It is time to return to the place where chaos and unpredictability reign. And in seconds, you change. As children, we would leave classrooms that gave us structure, comfort, and support. Yeah, we would walk into, an environment that was nothing like that. For some, home was a place of aggression, neglect, apathy. The persons meant to care for us, to nurture us, were unpredictable and deeply disturbed individuals. They didn't know how to love us, so they controlled us. That's what it was. The classrooms, the hallways, the playgrounds, even the smaller spaces where we could breathe and just be, those places were safe. They were our shelter. But home, sadly, home felt like walking into a storm, a space where everything you did was wrong, where you could never fully relax, where you walked on eggshells. The emotional weight was always there, no matter what. Even as adults, respected, successful, and capable, you still find yourself shrinking at the thought of home. As an adult, you have a circle of friends. You network. You create. You thrive. But when it comes time to go home, it's like the clock rewinds. And once again, you're that trembling child with heavy legs, heart racing, chest tight. You can't explain it, but you feel it. It's a weight your body remembers. The fear, it's in your bones. And here's the truth. When you grow up in a toxic environment, it doesn't end when you leave. You take it with you. The patterns of abuse, the control, the manipulation, they seep into every relationship you have. You might find yourself in relationships where that same toxicity plays out again. Why? Because those who are emotionally abusive can smell vulnerability and strength. They do. They recognize it in you. They do that. It's an instinct. They know you've been trained to tolerate discomfort, to keep the peace no matter what, to question your own needs. Yeah. They don't know empathy. They are not capable of it. It's not part of their programming. It's not, trust me. This is how we end up in cycles. We keep seeking out those familiar patterns because we don't know any better. It's what our bodies were taught to expect. And when the abuse is hidden behind charm, manipulation, or love bombing, we accept it. We tell ourselves we're worthy of it, that we can handle it, or that we can even fix it. But we can't. Because the truth is, it was never our fault. The abuse we experienced as children shaped us in ways we may not even fully understand. Not yet. It's so easy to blame ourselves. We think we could have done something different. That if we had been better, the people around us would have loved us. But that's not how it works. It was never about us. It was always about them. And it doesn't stop there. The damage we carry from these toxic relationships doesn't simply vanish. They don't vanish when we leave. It lingers, it twists, it gets absorbed into new relationships, into our careers, and into the way we view ourselves. We forget our value. We forget our worth. We become afraid of being vulnerable, afraid of being truly seen, because we fear rejection. We fear that if we show ourselves, we will be hurt again. But here's the most important thing. Healing begins when we stop carrying the shame that was never ours to begin with. It does start when we stop blaming ourselves and begin to speak our truth, no matter how messy, painful, or confusing it feels. Healing doesn't come with perfection. It doesn't happen overnight. But every time we open up, every time we tell our stories, we start to release the hold that these toxic experiences have on us. We begin to create new paths, new understandings, and a new sense of peace and purpose. And we stop shutting down. When we share our experiences with others who understand, we find connections, we find validation, and we find strength in knowing that we are not alone. So if this resonates with you, if you have ever felt like a frightened child in the presence of a caregiver, or if you found yourself repeating the same toxic patterns in relationships, I encourage you to share your story. Share it with a therapist, a support group, a trusted friend. Speak it out loud. Stop letting it live inside you. Please know that you are not alone, and that this journey, while difficult, is one that can lead to the life you truly deserve. A life of peace, of freedom, of love. Not the kind you were taught to expect, but the kind you get to build for yourself. There is power in your words. And together, we can stop hiding. We can stop blaming ourselves. We can start a healing process. The one we've always wanted and longed for. Thank you for listening. If this resonated with you, please share it with someone who might need it as well. Let's keep this conversation going. You are not alone in all of this. For more in-depth articles about toxic relationships and healing, follow the Substack. The link is in the description down below. And until next time, be well.